There comes a time in everyone's trading life, once they get to a certain elite level, where they realize it's incumbent upon them to provide their knowledge to others so that they might also succeed.
Okay.
Keeping it to themselves is a sin. Or as Jordan Peterson likes to say, it's a you-sized problem that you see in the world. And if you don't solve it, you're not fulfilling your purpose. Well, that's what I'm here today to do, Peter. To fulfill my purpose, to provide people with perfect trades. Perfect trades. Now, I know it sounds grandiose. Tom, do I just have to do exactly what you say every time you say it and I'll succeed? No. Don't be a stupid retard. What I want is for you to understand the process, the ways of thinking about how to enter and exit markets. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. MNQ and Bitcoin. Peter, how's it going?
It's going fine.
No one cares. Welcome to Revelations for Wednesday, February 18th, 2026. I'm your illustrious guide, Tom, Sacred Prophet Hartman, joined for the time being by my first acolyte, Peter, Bad Guru Hartman. On Revelations, we go over the trade setups for the past day and the day ahead, all to teach you, the congregation, how to use divine indicators to trade for profit and purpose. Today, we'll be taking a look at MNQ and BTC from the lens of a prop firm trader and a 50x leverage trader. So, like, follow, and listen, because the next few minutes might just change your life. And I'm being modest there saying might, because it's pretty much guaranteed. I don't come on stream unless I'm dropping gold, dropping wisdom. Pick it up.
I did a trade today, and it was good. It was a good trade. $200, $300. I'm happy.
Oh, you pretended to be me? Is that it?
C- trade.
Is that it?
No,
God.
it's fine. No, I'm happy about it. I'm happy about the trade. Can't you tell?
All right, I understand.
Tom and I, we had a whole argument just before we came on stream about Tom's inability to feel joy when he does things well. The trade didn't go as well as it could have. I mean, from my perspective, it went great, but it didn't go as well as it could have. And Tom was trying to tell me that no, he feels happy about it. But
no, I wasn't saying I feel happy about it. I said I wasn't feeling sad about it. I'm just feeling.
That's the point.
I got 60% of my test.
That's the point.
I got to do better next time.
You didn't get 60%. You got 100%. Either every trade is 100% or zero. There's nothing in between.
No, that's so stupid. If that's the case, then I should just put on a trade, and as soon as I get to $20, take profits and call it a day.
If you keep doing that and you always hit $20, then I'd say yes, success, great.
No, but that's not what I'm aiming for.
What are you aiming for, Tom?
I can make more money than that going to work at McDonald's.
Yeah, I know, but it's compound. It's compound. It's not just the trade. It's what you learn in the trade. It's improving your process and becoming more and more reliable. If you can do that, if somebody could earn $20 a day trading reliably, I'd say that's a winner.
Heathens. That is why he's a temporary first acolyte, and I am the sacred prophet.
Look,
we're here for bangers.
You cannot get me down today. Our gracious benefactor has gifted me with infinite power. All right? Infinite power. I cannot feel bad. Hey, why can't I open this?
There's a bar on it. You just have to rip the thing, no?
What? A bar?
There's like a
oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Cannot hold me down today. I did a great trade because of Sacred Prophet. I followed his guidance. $300 in 2 prop firm accounts. I lost one, but it's okay. It was $10 away from loss. And now I got myself a Mac Mini. Thank you so much, Seb. And I am going to be setting up OpenClaw, and I will become Iron Man. That's what's happening here today. So you can insult me all you want. I'll be here for now. Freaking just
well, while you enjoy your Mac Mini, if you want to just switch over to my screen, I just want to show the two trades we could have taken today, the 2 perfect types of setups that we've been talking about for a while now. So we're talking about perfect entries. It's very difficult to have perfect exits. That I found difficult because you can't tell necessarily how far a move can go. And so, as long as you're in profit, hey, that's a successful trade. But what you can make sure is that when you enter a position, that you do it at the most optimal moments. And I want to go
Hey.
over that a little bit today.
Yeah, I've never heard you say that before. So there's no such thing as a perfect exit?
No.
Huh. Interesting. That's good to
Well,
know.
just imagine, Trump tweets
Mhm.
and the stock market's collapsing or
Yeah.
rising. I don't care. I'm not trying to be partisan here. One way or another, some big 6 sigma move happens. Or silver, we saw did a 11 sigma move up.
Mhm.
Well, how are you supposed to know if you're supposed to exit at 9 sigma or 11 sigma? How are you supposed to aim for that?
So
Whatever
then,
time frame.
how do you measure a C minus trade versus an A plus trade? What's your metric?
There are certain times. So we focus a lot on time over price here, right? There's certain times of the day that you should be looking for a trend, and
Mhm.
certain times of the day you should be looking for an end of a trend. So we'll revisit that at the end of today's trade. But that's where I felt like I didn't nail the landing. I should have, or I could have taken profits right around 315 when I'm expecting for positions to be covered at the end of the day. And there were signs, there were tools I could have used in order to help me figure out, hey, should I expect this trade to really give more,
Right.
or should I just let this go
Interesting. All right.
and just take my profits? All right, so taking a look at MNQ, we'll take a look at Bitcoin after this, folks. But I want to start off with MNQ, which we were trading. Now, in the overnight, that's 6 p.m. Eastern Standard trade, where we trade towards the VWAP. There was just a little bit of a move here to yesterday. Actually, I got stopped out on it, and you guys will see why in a second. So as soon as the 6 o'clock chart opened up for futures, I shorted. And I was in profit this whole way down over here. Now, I've mentioned this before, where the price loves to miss your target, your take profit target, by a couple of ticks. So I normally set my take profit. So my take profit level was going to be one of these two lines over here, right? This 24, let's call it 24.7, and let's call it 24.690. Yeah, 690 and 700 on. This was the previous close of the VWAP of the day before. All right, so say that again. This is the previous day when it closed. VWAP was there, and so those are the levels we target when we open for futures. Often, I tested it 73% of the time. The price revisits that level. How soon it does it, that is up in the air. However, that it often will do it, or often enough that it makes it worthwhile for me to take the trade, that it does it at 6 p.m. between 6, 7, and 8 before the Asian session opens, is enough for me to take the trade. But as you can see here, it whiffed it. The wick here didn't touch my take profit, even though I was a couple of ticks away, didn't touch it, and it went the other way. Now, what I might have done is just, it got close enough, I might have closed the trade manually, or I might have just moved my stop down. But I generally have a rule that I don't do that sort of thing. You start messing around with your stop losses, you start second guessing what you should have done. And then you don't really get a sense of how your trade plays out. So it's interesting. Someone will put a trade on. Someone will put a trade on. They say, I'm willing to risk $75 for this trade.
Right.
Then the trade gets a little bit in profit, and they go, but I'm up $30. I want to move my stop loss to break even so I don't lose any money on the trade. It's like, well, one, you were already willing to lose that money to begin with. Well, maybe you weren't. Maybe you were lying to yourself and you weren't actually willing to lose that $75, in which case you shouldn't have been in that trade to begin with.
Right.
And how are you so confident the price won't retrace a little bit after your entry? So it means you're spurious with your entries, right? That's why at my 6 o'clock trade, I don't generally wait. The moment 6 o'clock opens, I enter that trade, accepting that I'm gonna fail if it fails.
But sometimes you wait one candle, no?
I recommend other people wait.
Right.
Me, the only time I will wait there is if I'm expecting the move to go down, and at 6 o'clock it opens and it skyrockets up. Then I might be like, okay, I don't know what's going on here. There might have been some news. There might have been earnings reports for some mega cap company I wasn't aware of. I got to let this settle a bit.
Right.
And then I'll wait between 50-minute increments before getting into the trade. But it's not a hard and fast rule. This is where you have to feel for it. What matters most is what is the distance, what is the take profit I'm expecting? Over here, the most I can expect from the close or where we opened up to the take profit level, I can only really expect this move over here, which was 80 points, right? I could expect 80 points, which is $160 for one micro contract. So I can't try the trade 3 times if I'm risking $75 a piece, because it's not going to be worth the juice. It's going to be more of a gamble.
This is because you're in a prop firm account that has max daily loss limit.
Yes, but even aside from that, if I'm just regularly trading, unless I'm trying to do a negative RR strategy or super negative RR strategy, I'm looking for at most a 1-for-1. Right? I want to know, well, how many times does it make sense to try this trade? It's sort of like if I were to tell you, if I, the lottery, you have a lottery ticket and there's $1 million prize, and it's $10 per ticket. Well, would you spend $1 million worth of money to try to make that million? It's like, well, no, that's sort of silly, right? If you buy $1 million ticket and all you can get is $1 million, you're just breaking even. Why would you ever do that?
Right.
So there is a certain amount of, depending on how much room I have for the take profit, how much I'm aiming for, then that gives me an idea of how much bites of the apple I might want to take. So at 80 points, I'm only really willing to take 1 bite at the apple. So if that's the case, I don't want to move my stop. So I'm leaving my stop at $75 loss. Fine, it failed out over here, and I got stopped out over here. Fine, I got stopped out. It's fine by me. The next trade I'd be looking for is to see, do we pull back towards the VWAP? We never did, so there's nothing for me to trace. Sure, I could have tried to, I would have loved to, if this, I already had an order here that if this hit this take profit, it would have gone long and I would have been up this whole way. But it wasn't a perfect trade, and just let it go.
Are there times where it misses that by a tick, and that it doesn't do this thing where it comes down and you would have been, it was good that you didn't get in?
Yeah, that happens a lot. The reason why I think it didn't necessarily happen here is that because we had the holiday, the President's Day, and we had half day for markets, it skews VWAP values. What looks like an overnight really isn't an overnight, and so all of a sudden data that's there shouldn't be there, or vice versa, and my levels are not exactly where it should be. So if I was trading this manually thinking about that, I should have just taken my profits when I got near it. But I hate breaking my rules in that way, because again, you start modifying your rules on the fly, you start second guessing yourself. What's bad is that you change your rules and you fail. What's worse is you change your rules and you succeed.
Right.
Because then you learn that second guessing is the thing I should do.
That's right. It's like when if you sleep around with loose women and you don't wear a condom and you never catch anything, it's like, oh, I guess I'll keep doing that.
There we go. Exactly. All right, so what you see on the chart over here, other than the VWAP levels, which you're seeing the daily VWAPs in blue and the VWAPs down here, you're seeing purple here. I'm trying this thing where the purple levels are going to be the 2-hour levels, because before I was using white for both 2-hour and 15-minute, anything less than a day, and I think that was confusing to people. So these purple levels are my 2-hour VWAP levels, right? So when you see purple over here, this is the 2-hour VWAP, and the levels are historical VWAP prices for the 2-hour. So over here, once we missed over here and we came up to over here, this is a 2-hour level that was created from the start of the 2-hour candle, and it made sense that the price was summoned to that level. Afterwards, where did we have a stall out in the price? At the 2-hour again, where it stalls out over here, right? It sort of tries to come down to over here. Maybe if we got down to this 2-hour level, coincided here, I would have liked to have taken it. It didn't work. It just continued to move up afterwards. Why did it move up? Because we had another 2-hour level here also calling the price, right? So it called the price up. It sort of bounced around the 2-hour VWAP and it went up over here. Is it a guarantee that it does that and doesn't come down? No, that's just what happened in this one. So over here, right around here is where I started looking at, or not, when I came back to the charts at 7 o'clock in the morning, I started looking at the history and I was like, okay, we came and we visited the 2-hour. That means we've been bouncing around 2-hour levels. The next 2-hour level above us is over here, this purple line over here. And then the one below us was this one I just talked about before that we didn't touch. Okay? So what does that mean? It means that we're in this chop city. Why do I think that we're in chop? Because we came in on the day pretty close to VWAP. When we're on VWAP, we're pretty close to VWAP, the historical VWAP levels. I go, it's probably going to be a choppy day. Choppy means that we're going to oscillate around VWAP. How far that is, what that range is, I can't tell. Sometimes it could be a wide range, sometimes it can be narrow, but I'm looking for just mean reversion, mean reversion, mean reversion. If that's the case, I keep my daily and weekly levels in mind as to where we might go, but I'm really trying to trade the 2 hours. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Because over here, if we take a look overtly, I'm still looking at this level at 24/7 as a target for that day. I'm still looking for that. So the more we move away, the more likely it is we come down to that level. Right? Some other people think, we might just launch up. Verizon is bullshit, might launch up. I go, okay, but we didn't see that. I would only expect that if the price opened up and we were like opened up underneath here. And then we have to move up to the level. Then you have this momentum and calls that get printed and negative gamma that pushes you up, and you have this momentum that moves up. If I don't have that, and I've just been in chop now for the longest time, I'm just going to keep expecting this chop, right? So the day opens up, the candle opens up, and I haven't expected the candle opens up right over here. We're right around VWAP. Right? I don't know if you can see here behind the bars, Peter, but it's actually red. Let me see if we can hide this 1 second.
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. Let me just hide this real quick. We're red over here. But it's barely anything, so it's not a decisive move. In fact, what we had is that the price fell down. Where did it fall down to in order to get to this 2-hour level? This is the stuff I find interesting. Remember, we were expecting chop, and we had this unmitigated level. This one got hit. This one got hit, this one got hit, but this one's missed. Price is OCD like that, and it wanted to come back in order to test it, and it did. And that would have been a great entry, not a perfect entry, but a great entry in order to get this long up. Now that's hard to take, right, Peter? Because you can get over here, you can bounce a little bit and fall down. So this is not where I'd be like, this is a home run trade. But what is interesting afterwards is that just as far as observing the chart, some trades you can get in. The next candle over here, this next 15-minute candle, also wicks below. So in here, a bunch of people got freaking roasted. Also wick below, and then we moved up. To me, at this point, it's a little bit too late for the trade. Well, we talked about it today. We got up over here, and I was like, okay, we're confirming a bounce off of VWAP. VWAP now has turned green. Our trend indicator for VWAP has turned green. Likelihood is that I'm going up to this 2-hour level, this daily level, and this weekly level. This is what we talked about on Price Action Live this morning on the Traders Pulse YouTube channel. You guys want to go see that live trade, please go ahead. And if you want to subscribe, it's worthwhile because you get to see these trades live in action. So what did I do? Over here, I took a little long over here. I took a long up to the daily level. Why? Because all the other levels were cleared. Like all these other guys got cleared. All these ones are done. So I don't have any levels here to sort of wick me out of my trade. It's already confirming it's going to go to that direction. Remember, that's the second type of trade that we want to be in. We want to get full trends, but we can't get full trends, partial trends. So this is partial trend. I go in and I make $100 on this trade over here. Great. Could I have held it all the way up to this weekly level? Sure, but I'm expecting chop. And we could have turned at any point. I don't know. So this level, I attempted a short, right? It makes sense to attempt a short, but that wasn't really very smart because we were actually close to this level. And what we do, we climbed up to that level. Now here, Peter, is where we talked about it, and we went short at the weekly VWAP. This is a weekly VWAP that got created on February 13th, right? At the beginning of this week, this level. That's exactly where we went to. And notice here how important it is, Peter, the perfect entries. We got in right on that candle, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you wait, if you're like, I'm going to wait to see if it's going to, I'm scared it's going up and up and up, it might just blast away. If you wait and you said, okay, I'm going to get in over here, then you might have been wicked out here or here. It made two highs above that level, and that's more than enough to scare people out. But I always like to remind myself, it's a wick, Harry. All right? You might be in a wick, but when you're in at the perfect entry, our stop loss was up over here. So I'm not worried about it. If it stops out, it stops out. And I just, the next level I'm aiming for is up over here, this 2 hour level up here. And I would have gone long. But if not, I'm still in the trade and I don't get to rinsed out of the trade. So we're able to, got in this trade at 11 o'clock and it was 1 o'clock before it even started moving. That's 2 hours we didn't have to worry about.
It did feel good not to worry about it. Like with the perfect entry. Oh man, that's the thing with perfect entries. With that perfect entry, you're not dealing with the stress of, will they, won't they, Ross and Rachel. And you can't have that without the idea that says the cost of my trade is $75. The cost of my trade is my stop loss. If you don't have those two parts, you're always going to be dealing with your emotions going back and forth. And should I not? If you have that, plus have the sacred profit indicators on your chart, because I don't know what you're doing if you're not trading without these indicators. Then you just sit there, and I sat there, newbie Peter, acolyte Peter, nervous Nelly, just cool as a cucumber, seeing it go. Didn't care if it was going to hit my stop loss. It would have been fine, but I had all that room. Then the red candles show up, and now you're singing, hallelujah. Praise be to the sacred prophet.
So that's what happened. 1 o'clock, the trend started. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Peter, the trend actually started here at 12. Remember, I say trend started at 10, 12, or 2.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I say here is that this candle, because of this wick, actually went this was the high point. Right?
It was crazy. It was really at 12, like literally at 12 that everything started happening.
Well, even over here, the 10 o'clock trade, this trade over here at 10 o'clock, you might be like, well, Tom, the trade already succeeded. Like it was already well into this move up. Yeah, but these were uncertain. Look at the wicks on those guys.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy, no wick to the downside because at 10, the trend started. So at the open of that candle, boom, it moved up. Yeah, at the open, at the height of that candle, it moved down. That's the sort of move I'm looking for. So I really don't like preempting trends, or rather, 10, 12, 2 is when I generally look for trends. All right. So we fall over here.
Is that specific for? I know we have to wrap up here, but is that specific for MNQ? Is that?
Yes.
I see.
I don't know other assets we had that way. I only trade silver, gold, MNQ, and Bitcoin.
Well, you trade MES, don't you?
No, I don't trade MES. I just watch MES to see confluence.
Oh, I see.
All right, so I'll go quickly here because I want to touch on Bitcoin before we leave. But essentially, we held this trade to the end. Now, once we get past a certain level, I'm now moving my once we got past VWAP level over here, this VWAP, that's where I like to move my stop loss. I mean, move your stop loss whenever you want to, but I move my stop loss to above VWAP because if we go below VWAP, that is classic for that. That's it. Like we're now headed into a bearish trend. All right. My target, my ultimate target was this level over here, the daily VWAP that was created for that day. Right. That's still my target. It could easily have gotten there. It didn't happen today, but you should always have that level as your target for that day until proven otherwise, because the amount of times that happens where it just wicks down to that candle happens constantly. What I didn't pay attention here today, Peter, is what I should have paid attention to before, or what I wanted to, was that at around 2:30, 3 o'clock, between 2:30 and 3 o'clock, you got to be careful for positions. Mm-hmm. Unless there's some sort of news and some event in the market's dumping or rocketing up, people have to close out their positions for the day. So if it's been short, then those shorts have to cover. If people are trying to get into a longer term trade, they're often getting that close. They don't deal with intraday stuff. They get close. They're going from close to close. Meaning to say that if they're holding the position for 5 days, they just care what the close is for the last 5 days. So they're not looking intraday volatility. And so a bunch of things can rejigger at the end of the day. One of the indicators for this is, give me 1 second here, Peter, is the we can't show this live as it's happening, but I'll show it to you now that the day's over. This is spot gamma. You can go ahead and show my screen. Spot gamma gives us a view into the notional gamma that's active in the market right now. That's a fancy way of saying that when gamma is highly positive, markets have a tendency of mean reverting, oscillating around. And when they're negative gamma, markets have a tendency of whatever move is happening being exacerbated, either to the downside or to the upside. We spend most of our day in positive gamma. This is the zero level for gamma, and we spend most of our day in positive gamma, all the way up to like one. We were almost at $2 billion worth of a positive gamma. That means this is highly unlikely to launch up and highly unlikely to launch down. Right? And so I was actually hoping, because we were falling, we were actually getting this negative gamma that was spilling. And you see all this red everywhere? All this red means negative gamma. So I was like, "Ooh, it'd be great if we just broke 6,800 on the SPY or whatever the negative gamma wall was. It could violently dump.
Mhm.
It could have done that, and I sort of wanted that to happen and be in that trade. So that's why I sort of but
So we
that's why I
held
give
on
myself
to
a
it.
lower grade, because I let Hopium take hold, whereas over here this is exactly 3:15, so it's a 3 o'clock candle. I should have been looking to get out of the trade. It near whiffed this 2 hour level, which we saw what happened earlier on, and moved the other way, and it could easily move up to VWAP, which is exactly what it did. So at this doji, I should have been like, let's just get out of the trade, take our 400 whatever, and be done with it. As it is, we ended with 300, which is fine, but that's why I gave myself less than a good grade.
I totally get that. And, I had that impulse too. I don't have all the information around it, spot gamma, all that stuff. But that's an important lesson to have. And that's another thing. That's what we want to do here at Sacred Profit, right? You take these trades. Look, what you're experiencing here on Sacred Profit is the consequence of lessons learned, right? These indicators are living indicators, just like the Bible. It's the living word of Tom. All right. And so every time we learn a lesson, we improve the process. And if you look at our content over the beginning up until now, you're going to see this evolution in the way that Tom teaches. You're going to see an evolution in the indicators. So here we are today, and Tom and I learned a valuable lesson when we hit that bottom. We could have exited. Now that we have this information, we're going to be improved going forward, and we're going to be looking for a similar situation, and we're going to know what to do at that moment. And to me, that's what makes this trade, in my mind, for me, an A plus. Not because we got the maximum profit that we could have had on that trade, but because we got some profit and we learned valuable lessons that will set us up for the next win.
All
I'm
right,
happy today. You did good. You did good by me, Tom. That's for sure.
So I was going to end this trade to say what we want to do for tomorrow. So at 6 p.m. in about 30 minutes, the futures will open, and we're going to be essentially at this level, right? At the VWAP levels. And so at most, there's a trade here of about 40 points, which is essentially nothing. I don't even really count that much as much, because this is the session VWAP, not even the overnight VWAP. We'll be right at overnight VWAP. And so what am I looking for? I'm generally looking for a short here. Why am I looking for a short? This is not one of those slam dunk trades. This is like I'm trying to get into a trend as soon as it starts, because this trend already started, this downward trend, and we broke below VWAP during the session. We bounced to a lower high, and the VWAP held. At the same time, we still haven't touched this daily VWAP level, right? That's our target. It's the nearest, most recent target here. We already cleared this one. We cleared this weekly one. These are 2 hour levels. 2 hour levels don't generally drag the price like wildly from where it is. They're like nearby things. And so the next daily level is up over here, which is pretty far from where we are right now. This is nearer and more recent. That's my bias. Could it go up? Absolutely. But that's not the trade I want to be I'm going to be expecting. Second to that, when we take a look at financial conditions, the dollar rose most of the day today, right? The dollar rose. So we've been having this rising dollar. We've been talking about this rising dollar who did a higher low, and it's been rising. Now we're up to support. So we'll see what happens here. Do we break out and go to this weekly level, or do we fall down? We don't know. But If the dollar is rising, I expect liquidity to be pulled. And if you take a look at Bitcoin, which is my liquidity indicator as well, Bitcoin has been in this downtrend, right? And so Bitcoin, that's the last thing I want to mention here, that I've been in this Bitcoin trade. This is where I trade Bitcoin leverage futures. Allows me to hold trades as long as I want, and I get to ride a whole trend. I got into this Bitcoin short on February 16th. Where did I get in? Let me show you exactly where. Right here on February 16th. This is the week started, right? This Sunday, the week started. The price moved up to a daily level over here. Then it came down and moved up again. Now, when it came up again on this, when it came up over here again, this is where I entered. Why? Because this was a 2-hour level and we had cleared all the other levels. There were no other nearby levels. Remember, the price is going to go towards the nearest magnet level. So I have this overall bias that we're going to $56,000 on Bitcoin anyway. So I want to get into a short. I want more of a short. So I hold the short over here. And because I'm over here, I get to hold through all this, Peter. That's what I love. This whole time we're below VWAP. This is the VWAP line over here. We're below VWAP. And I get to hold it all the way through. I don't have to chop, or worry about any of that. I could just add in when we get to VWAP or just hold my position all the way down over here. So that's what I've been in. Plus, this is the second time this pattern is happening. I don't know if you can see this here, but we have this pattern up and then down to this VWAP level, and then up and then down towards, this is where I'm aiming for this VWAP level. So my initial take profit would be around there, except that this is the second time this pattern has happened. Often, the second time the patterns happen, a long-term pattern happens in Bitcoin, you don't get a third. Why? Because you imagine everyone's now waiting. I saw this pattern twice. It's going to bounce again, right? So either you get a smaller bounce than you think, or it barely does anything and then gives up the ghost.
What's your
plan? All right? I think it's going to give the ghost. I'm going to hold on to the short. And I want to get down to around 55,000 on this position. Right now, I'm already up 200%, right? It's a 4% move in right now. So at 50x leverage, I'm up 200%. And if I could hold this position all the way down to 56,000, we're expecting, that's 19%, which will be a 9 times your money, almost 10 times your money. That to me is totally worth it. I'll take 10 times my position size. For a trade like that. If it's wrong, it just costs me my stop loss. Who cares? Because I got a perfect entry or near perfect entry. All right. That's it, folks. If you guys were part of the Telegram group, you got the trade mentioned right when I got into the position, right? Anyways, it's a Telegram group. I said, hey, this is where the trade I think is going to start. This is where I'm entering my entries. I don't come on stream and talk about my entries like this, although I didn't mention it on the Price Action Live, and I don't normally tweet it out. If I'm going to get into something like this and I think it's interesting for you to get into, then I share it out there for everyone to see. And so you guys can see, I'm not just looking back on trades and saying I took it. You can see what I'm talking about. I'm telling you the entry at the time that it's happening. It's a way for me to be accountable. There's me having wrong trades in there. It's me having right trades in there. But I think it's worth it for you guys all to see. And you can get into it for free. Go to sacredprofit.com, sign up, 14 days for free. You get access to all that. I trade almost every single day. If you don't find out after 14 weeks that I'm one of the best services you can have for retail traders, another week's not going to help you. All right. Well, that's it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow for even more revelations, looking over the day's trades. We wish you all the best in the world. Why? Because the more money you make, the more money I'll make.